Alright, we're going to work on a block, but we're going to do the block, the default standard one, but we're going to have animations applied to it. This is going to kind of help us get the idea of when it comes to a lot of the parts and pieces, how does it actually look with animation? Currently, we've just been doing single frames. So if you go into your tile set, you'll go down to the one that says block multi-frame. And notice inside of each one there's going to be a 0 and a 1. Remember, animations are identified by 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when you have an animation state, you're going to label it with the numbers. It's going to pick it up and automatically know which ones to combine together when it's looking. The difference on this one is just simply a color change. We're going from a dark label right here to a light label. Alright, so be sure animation button was checked. Click on the open for it. And we have our block set right here. I'm actually going to move this up. And then the block, we're going to move this one over to the next one and the next one. There we go. So we have our standard block here. We'll have a block with animation files on it. The default tile type block standard is fine. We'll go to our tile description. We're just going to say block multi-frames, or block multi-frame, multiple frames. Alright, general settings. We have our visible and receive light, which is fine, the offset being at 0. Animation frames, we'll drop this down anywhere between 2 to 6 is probably a good number, just so that it's slow enough you can see it, it's not flashing like super fast. Thumbnail image, let's go ahead and scroll down to the thumbnail. And remember, a thumbnail can also be an animation. It doesn't have to be a single frame. You can actually have it so that in the editor, you actually have an animation happening in your panel down there. Alright, so we have our general settings set. The rotation scale and all those are fine. Colliders are fine. We'll just have it just collision only. The color and filter is fine. The core on this is just like the other, which is it's just a standard block. It's not going to do anything different with it, except for one part. Because we have animations for damage states, we'll go ahead and add, we'll have the health onto it. So I'm going to scroll down to the, let's see, first one. Actually, let's go in order here. Tile animations. This block has animations for all the states, which means when we go to start, we're going to see when it is start. It's going to be it basically works so that it identifies each state. So when you put it in build a game, you're going to be able to tell really easy when your player or an object touches it, is it going from a start and then goes to the next state and the next state. So be sure, if you haven't seen it, be sure to look in the default set and check it out so you can understand what we're actually working with right here. Alright, so we have, let's see, idle. So we'll go down to our idle state there. We have trigger enter. And again, each of these I'm just going to find the label. If you label them the same, it becomes really easy when it comes to setting them up. You're just simply identifying the same names for them. And all of these are actually animations. Remember, these are 2-frame animations a piece. And we'll go to end right here. Alright, so we now have our animation set up right there. Audio files could be the same way as well if we had audio files included with it. The trigger settings, I'm going to enable this one. Now on trigger, for the size of it, by default the box would be exactly the same size, but I'm actually going to make it so that the top of it, we're going to say move vertical, and we'll actually move this one up to about 3, which is basically saying that the box is going to be moved up here, so that if a player jumps on top of it, then it'll actually activate the trigger for it. Alright, and then if we scroll down here, we're going to enable the health, so we're going to uncheck the unlimited. That way the player can actually get hit with it. The object can be hit with it. There is a health regenerate. We're going to go ahead and turn this one on. That way you can see when it goes to the damage state, you'll be able to see it climbing back up as well. So let's go ahead and say, oh, and then also repair damage states. This is just saying that yes, you want to actually play the damage state repair. You can do it where you may have a damage state and it stays that way until it's repaired, and then it simply just plays the fixed version of it. So you can do both ways on that. Alright, hit point settings, we're going to enable this one. It's not going to apply damage, but it is going to receive, so we'll just say enable only. And then on the hurt state, we're going to actually play a hurt animation with this one. So for this one to actually work, we just play the my hurt animation state, which is hurt, right here. Alright, so that's going to be a hurt state being played right there. For the color flashing, I'm actually going to turn this off. That way you don't actually have a flash that is kind of covering over the animation state being played. It'll be a yellow state that gets animated for this one. Alright, and then on the damage state, we've looked at this before, but just for this one, we're going to go through damage. It's going to be start and idle. So we'll say start A and idle A. And then we'll go ahead and go through these. We're going to keep them at the default settings, so you'll have the state colliders on. You'll have the health set from the 80, 60, 40, and 20. So we'll say start B and idle B. And then we'll turn 3 on. We'll say C and idle C. And then the last one we'll do damage 4 enabled start. And it's going to be D on start and D on idle. There we go. Alright, so that's going to cover our damage states right there. I'm going to close that roll out. We're going to go to the die state. We have two options right here. The first one is just a single image that happens, a single animation that happens. So we'll go down to the die option for this one. And then once it dies, maybe it plays where if it was a player that fell over, and then after that you want to have a dead animation loop, which is actually looping through something happening for it. So we'll go down to our dead loop on it. Alright, and then we're going to, again, we'll turn off these two. We're going to keep it on those so that you can actually see the animation stay on the screen. Alright, and that should give us all of those parts. When it comes to breakables, there is an option for breakable. We're going to go ahead and put it in. We're not going to enable it, but we are going to put the animation for breakable in here. And that just simply means, again, is that when it becomes breakable, before the image shatters into pieces, this is the animation that gets assigned to it. And then it uses that for all the break pieces that get seen. Alright, and those are pretty much, let's double check on everything else here. We have our inventory, which we're not actually getting into right now for this one. Start and through there. Okay, so that's going to cover all of the major animation pieces for a standard object. If you were just making an object and you wanted to assign a lot of just the generic animation properties, those would be the core ones that would actually be available to it.